Today, we're working on a case on Gus Green, who's a 7th felony habitual offender. He's been convicted of forgery, 3 counts in Tensas Parish, aggravated battery, unauthorized entry of inhabited dwelling, 2nd-degree battery in Lafayette Parish, and carnal knowledge of a juvenile in Evalds Parish. Also, while on a work detail, when he was incarcerated, he raped a juvenile at the fire station in the bathroom.
And you heard correctly. Yes, a 7-time habitual offender who was already locked up for carnal knowledge of a juvenile, who is out on a work detail, essayed a minor inside a fire station's bathroom. And yet here he is with an opportunity at parole. He doesn't have a life sentence. It's remarkable. But anyways, let's see what the parole board does with this one.
Good morning, Mr. Green. The time is 10:27. I assume you are Mr. Green, Gus Green?
Yes, sir.
What is your DOC number?
Gus Green, 100-319.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Green. And we're at Baton Rouge, as you can probably tell, and our name tags are in front of us. And so you know who we are. And we're speaking to you remotely at Hunt Correctional Center. And so now we're going to ask you some questions or give you a chance to talk. And so you're the one that requested a parole hearing. So this is a parole hearing. So now tell us why you requested it and what you did to get where you are and why you feel like that you're worthy of getting out early.
Well, if the parole board allow me, I'd like to say something first before I start on that. I want to apologize and say I'm sorry to all the victims. And I would like to say that I'm not the same man I was 23 years ago. I've been through a lot, and I put the victims through a lot. And the charge that brought me in here, it was because I drunk a lot, and every time my victim tried to give me, well, my victim was my old lady at the time, was my girlfriend, my daughter's mother. So every time she tried to get me help for drinking, I didn't want to listen to her, so I lashed out at her. You know, so that's on me. I wasn't a man. I didn't act like a man, but I got a lot of help since I've been in.
Okay. All right. So what you got to say, Mr. Green?
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you for those words, and we appreciate you admitting all of that and saying what you did. What kind of fellow has Mr. Green been since he's been at the institution of Hunt?
He's been at Hunt since 2015. He's had a total of 11 write-ups. The last was in January of 22. He's currently a hobby shop orderly, and lives in Gulf Freedom, which he doesn't give us any trouble. We haven't had any issues with him, except for that last write-up. He's currently enrolled in victim impact class that'll end in April of this year.
Okay. All right. The way we handled, is that all you needed to say? I didn't want to
Yes, sir.
interrupt.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
The way we handle these, each one of the 3 of us is the principal interviewer. We're all familiar with your case. In this particular case, Mr. Barra is the interviewer. He's going to ask questions. We'll follow up with any questions and we'll vote. Pretty simple process. Mr. Barra?
All right. Today, we're working on a case on Gus Green, who's a 7th felony habitual offender. He's been convicted of forgery, 3 counts in Tensas Parish, aggravated battery, unauthorized entry of inhabited dwelling, 2nd-degree battery in Lafayette Parish, and carnal knowledge of a juvenile in Evalds Parish. Also, while on a work detail, when he was incarcerated, he raped a juvenile at the fire station in the bathroom. He's currently served about 63% of his sentence, and he's here today for us requesting parole. So my one question is, why do you think you deserve parole today after serving 63% of your sentence?
Because I'm a better person, I'm a better man than I was. You know, I was a person with problems, and I done took care of them problems. And with alcohol, and I understand now that once you're alcoholic, you're always alcoholic. And I had to get help for that. And if you surround myself with people that are with the same problem I was drinking, and I could lean on them, and I got help. And I wanted to get out of here if the parole board see fit to become a citizen again.
Okay, and one more question. When you hit that girl juvenile in the bathroom at the fire station on a work detail, you were drinking while you were on the work detail?
Yes, sir. While we was on work detail, we was able to get alcohol. Yes, sir, I would.
Right, that's the only question.
I have a question. You did say you've gotten help with your alcoholism. What about the sexual abuse?
That too. I got help. I got help with that too. We took classes on that. And it helped. It helped a lot. But most of that was on me. Making bad decisions. So I got that fixed. And if the board allowed me to get out of here, I'm still gonna go through programs for that.
What did you learn in the sexual abuse classes that you took?
I learned that women's are human beings, and the man not supposed to look at them like that, supposed to treat them equal. And if a man look at a woman like that just for sex, then he's not right.
Okay, I have no questions.
Martin, can you confirm any of the sex offender classes that he says he did?
His sex offender treatment is incomplete, he did not complete.
Not complete.
I
Mr.
don't
Green,
have the details of which.
tell us why you didn't complete the class?
I'm still going through. I'm still taking it. I went through part 7 with that. Went through part 7 and
You haven't taken the sex offender treatment, the 4 phases.
no, that's 4 phase. I'm still going through that. Still taking that. That ain't big an impact.
All right. Any questions, Mr. Craig?
No questions for me, sir. I think it's time to vote, Mr. Barrow.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that you are trying to better yourself, and I think that you need to continue doing that job, complete your sex offender classes. However, you've only served 63% of your sentence. Nowadays, people are serving 85% for these type of crimes. So you're a little short on your time, and that of a juvenile while on a work release really throws a monkey wrench into my decision to be able to feel good about letting you go. So for those reasons, I vote to deny your parole today.
I concur with Mr. Barrow.
I concur with Mr. Barrow. The time is 10:35, and I'm sorry to tell you, but your parole request has been denied. End of the hearing. Thank you.
And they denied, they made quick work of him. I mean, such quick work that I actually don't have the information that we need. Lady Holly says there's nothing available. We don't even know what his full sentence was. I have to make a guess. He served what percentage? Was it 61% of his time, or was it even less than that? And he's been in for 20 years, so maybe he has a 50-year sentence, which again, I don't understand how they could have easily slapped an habitual offender bill on him and given him life. Many of you probably have seen that parole hearing of the man who broke into a car and got a life sentence because the DA retroactively slapped him with an habitual offender bill. And this guy did not have a dirty jacket. He did not have a violent jacket. He had minor like breaking into car stuff, a life sentence. It's my most viewed parole hearing on the Mandy channel, so there is a good chance that you've seen it with over 1 million views. And then you have this guy who has a carnal knowledge in his jacket out on a work detail while he's still locked up in prison, essays not just anyone, but essays a child, and not just anywhere, but in a fire station. That doesn't make the news. We can't find anything on that. That doesn't give him a life sentence. I just don't get it. I don't get how these judges think. There's no, you like, what? And again, they could have slapped an habitual offender bill on him. You don't even need to, at that point, put the child through a trial. I mean, like, it's, what? Oh, I hope you guys get what I'm saying here, because there is no reason this dangerous man. I learned that women aren't just objects. Okay, and you know, it's interesting. He tried to like hide that offense. He didn't even mention it. What did he go? He said that, oh, was my wife was the victim. What was he saying? Like, and this. And just think about this. Think about with the victims that he has. One has to assume that, like, the idea, like, we didn't see the victims here, no DA, nothing. But what if I don't know, like, what if a victim was notified and then going through the trauma? What if this guy will get rid of it? It's just weird. It's weird. It's weird that this could happen. And it's weird that he could have a chance of parole. And it's really weird that there's no mention of it anywhere on the internet at all. And that a DA doesn't think it's important to show up for this hearing. But there it is. Thank you, Holly, for pointing it out, because this is one that the world needs to see. And now we're going to jump into another hearing. And it's just, there's some people that just fit the part. You take one look at them and you know what they're in for. Well, this is one of those cases. And he got out on good time in like 2023. So we don't have his parole hearing. Otherwise, we do a flashback in the past. He got out on good time. And then he got revoked because he just couldn't help himself. So with that, let's jump in.
Okay, good morning. It's 10:42 in the morning, so it still is morning. We're remote in Baton Rouge, and you can see we're at headquarters in Baton Rouge, and you can see our names in front of our places here. And we're going to be handling your case today. And you are Mr. Jonathan Parker, and we're talking to you remotely at Hunt Correctional, and we appreciate the folks at Hunt for hosting us this morning. Mr. Parker, what we're going to do now is, in just a few minutes, we're going to hear what you have to say about what you've accomplished since you've been there, or anything you want to say about the crime. It'll be up to you to convince us that you are worthy of getting out early. Okay, and then we're going to hear what the folks at Hunt have to say about your behavior there. Then we're going to hear from two folks, your sister and your father, they are going to be on Zoom, and they're going to tell us why they feel like you're worthy and should be getting out. Then we're going to turn it over to Mr. Tillis to my left, who's going to do the interviews with you, and then we'll ask questions, and then we'll vote. Pretty simple process. So the day is yours right now. Convince us somehow that you're worthy and deserving of getting out early from what you were sentenced for.
Mr. Chairman, this is Warden Buttress. I just wanted to make you aware, he's got a revocation questionnaire in front of him.
We got a revocation.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I thought this was a parole hearing. So this is a revocation hearing. Let's switch gears. All right. You've already been out once. You're back in. And so now you want to get out again, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you have a questionnaire in front of you, correct?
Correct.
And you have signed this questionnaire, right?
Correct.
And it talks about a number of different things, but you understand that and you're ready to proceed ahead, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. There's some things that you have been charged with, or that you've been alleged to have violated. You had a preliminary here already, and now it's our turn to decide if you should be revoked on your parole or not. And so Mr. Tillis is going to handle the question. Like I said before, I had that part right. Nothing else, but I had that right. Mr. Dillis, would you go ahead and tell us or go ahead and ask the question?
Good morning, Mr. Parker. How are you?
Nervous.
Don't be nervous. I am too. I'm going to read some rules and violations that you violated or saying that you violated. And after I read them, will you answer guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a plea, or not guilty with a plea? LA number 13, Texas rule number 8, violation 1, enroll and participating in a treatment program for sexual offenders as directed by the supervising parole officer, or about 10/17/2024. Failure to participate in treatment programs for sexual offenders by being unsuccessfully discharged from the program. How do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or with a statement?
I'm not gonna lie, guilty. Got the evidence.
Thank you. Louisiana 13, Texas Rule 8, Violation 2, not viewing, possessing, purchasing, or subscribing to, or cause to be purchases of subscriptions to any photographs, literature, magazines, books, or visual media which depict sexual explicit images, not communicating or causing a communication with a person for sexual explicit purposes through telecommunication or any other electronic means, including 1-900 services, on or about 10/14/2024, failure to not possess sexual explicit materials. Are you guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
LA number 13, Texas Rule 8. Violation number 3, not viewed, possess, purchase, or subscribe to or cause to be purchased or subscribe to be purchased photographs, literature, magazines, books, or visual media which depict sexual explicit images, not communicating or causing to communicate with a person for sexual explicit purposes through telecommunication, any other electronic means, including 1-900 services, on or about 10/14, failure, not communicating or causing communication with a person for sexual explicit purposes through any electronic means. Okay, how do you plead on this, George? Guilty, not guilty, or guilty with a statement?
Guilty, sir.
So you're saying you're guilty on all 3 charges?
Correct, I'm not gonna lie.
Thank you. Is there anything you would like to say in your defense?
I didn't know how serious parole was. First time around, I didn't know anybody on parole. That's my first time ever on parole, so I didn't know. I apologize. I mean, I don't know if I give it another chance. I know now, and I'll be 100% more focused on being better.
Let's see, did we let parents speak? We did?
Didn't yet.
Okay, I have no more questions.
I have no question.
I don't have any questions. You want to go on?
You have on your behalf, speaking on your behalf, Shawanda Dunbar,
Ch0M0s,
sister,
sir. Yes, sir.
and Johnny Parker,
Yes, sir.
father, by Zoom.
That's correct.
You want to speak, Mr. What's this say? Mr. Parker, want to go ahead and say something on behalf of your son?
Hello,
Yes, sir.
yeah, what do you want me to do?
Do you have anything you want to say on your son's behalf?
Yeah, I know he's really sorry for what he did. And if he comes back home, I swear to you, he won't do it again. I'll see to that. I need his help here. I'm an invalid and it's getting worse every day. And I just need his help to help me. He lost his mother while he was in prison. And I don't want him to lose me that way, but that's what's going to happen if he stays there, because I'm not doing very good. And I just need his help. And he's sorry for what he did. And please help him to get back because I need his help. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. His sister,
Right.
Ms. Dunn.
Yes, sir. I don't know what else to add to what Dad just said, except for the fact that he's a good kid. He really is. He just doesn't think before he acts a lot of times, and he needs help on that area. And he was trying to get into counseling to help him, I guess, better manage his thoughts and processes. He doesn't process things very easily. He's always had an issue with that. And he was in the process of getting into counseling and seeking help to help manage that on medications or therapy or whatever. And then he got picked up and there that went. But like I said, he's a good hearted kid, and like dad said, he needs him here. I can't unfortunately be here with Dad 24/7. And that's what he needs. And Jonathan was a huge help, getting him to his doctor's appointments, helping him when he falls. He just fell the other day and almost broke his hip. And it would have been nice if Jonathan was here. And I've got a lot of health issues, and I'm scared to go to the hospital myself because there's nobody here with Dad to take him to the hospital if need be. And so I've neglected my health, and it's not, it's not a good thing. But I'm all shaky. I'm sorry. Because I don't know what to say to basically beg y'all to please consider letting him come home, and we swear that he will not do this again. I will make sure of it personally. Dad will. And Jonathan will too. Jonathan recognizes where he messed up, and he's acknowledged it, and he's willing to do better, and he will do better. I'm sorry, I'm just
So he won't get a phone except he can call her.
I have his phone. His phone's completely turned off, and he won't get it back. But anyway, I appreciate your time. Like I said, I don't know what to say. I'm at a loss for words, but I appreciate the time. So thank you.
Mr. Tillis?
Mr. Jonathan, what happened to the class that you were kicked out of?
What happened?
Yeah, why were you kicked out?
I guess because of the violations, I guess. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I guess when the parole officer decided to do the parole violation, that's when she decided to terminate me from the group.
What were you planning to do if you were released?
Well, take 100% responsibility and focus and strive harder at the group, and harder to maybe find a part-time job to get me out of just do something. I was gonna take my dad fishing and just, do that with him, do something with him, and go to counseling, grief counseling, mental health counseling, get mental health treatments better, because I know I need better medication. I just plan on doing better with what's right, and just get away from all this other mess that I can't be involved with. Like I said, I didn't know how serious it was the first time around. Now that I do, I'm not gonna screw up again. I promise you'll not hear from me again.
How much time were you incarcerated?
I'm now over 12 years, sir. I got out 11 years, 8 months on good time in 23. But with the time I've been here, it adds up to 12 years, sir.
Okay, thank you. I have no more questions.
Mr. Barrow?
I don't have a question, but I can clarify for you, since you don't realize why you got warned and kicked out of treatment. It looks like from the reports I'm seeing from Texas on October 17th of 2024, for failing to participate in treatment program for sex offenders, you were terminated for failure to participate. And the parole officer got a warrant for you on 10/28, which was 11 days after, probably because you got kicked out of the treatment. It wasn't that you got out of the treatment because of the warrant. Because you got kicked out of treatment.
Okay.
That's how that went. No questions.
I don't have any questions. Ms. Tillis, you prepared to vote?
Yes.
May I say something? May I say something, please?
Sure.
At the preliminary hearing, the counselor did say that there's another program there that she feels beneficial to me. That would be much better. And I will strive to make 100% effort to participate and not hide anything and do what I have to do. It was a lot better than what I was. Like I said, I was just skating by because I didn't know how serious the situation is on the parole. I didn't know anybody that was on parole, so they couldn't give me no pointers on what to do. Now I understand fully, and I've taken full responsibility for my actions, and I will not do anything like that again, ever.
Who was it suggested that to you?
It was the sex offender counselor, sir, the Miss Wendy Wyatt at the preliminary hearing. She was told that if would I be welcome back, she said there's another program there that would be more beneficial to me.
Okay, thank you. My vote today is going to be to deny, and I think you should get some training while you're still there, some abuse training while you're there. I'm sorry, to revoke.
Okay. Mr. Barrow?
My vote is also to revoke due to continued criminal behavior and failure to participate in the training when you had the chance.
Okay, and I concur that. So that's 3 votes that your parole be revoked at this particular time. It's 10:57 in the morning. That's the end of this
There
hearing.
you have it, an easy revoke. And again, I wish I could tell you more. I wish I could share something with you, but there's no information at all on this man. His name is too common, so nothing comes up. Lady Holly couldn't find anything, so I can't tell you anything, but we could take some guesses. I mean, if he got out on good time in 2023 on 11 years, 8 months, then you can take into account maybe he got out on good time 30% through his 70% through his sentence. So I'm not good at math, but maybe he had a 15-year sentence. Is that possible? So he's got another 4 years to go, but it's just total guessing. And I don't know. I would guess maybe between 15 and 20 years. Don't know what he did, but to get that kind of sentence in Louisiana, it's probably pretty bad. And because I know that Louisiana has a reputation of giving long sentences for these crimes, but it's just not true. Maybe things are changing now, but from what we have seen, they treat offenses against children quite lightly. Quite lightly. You don't get that much time typically. The idea that he gets out and then he violates in every which way, and then shows up and says, "I didn't know parole was so serious. Oh, I didn't know." It's like, shut up. You're literally like a like Jabba the Hutt child. It's like, just shut up, man. And you know, of course, his family is the worst place for him to be. Often you see these Ch0M0s are in these type of situations where they can have no oversight, have no supervision, do whatever they want. And that's exactly what would have happened in that case. You see this all the time. You do. You could just, he just fits the part, looks the part, acts the part. And really good bait for any predator catcher situations if he ever does get out again. That's he'd be an easy catch in my opinion. But yeah, there he is. I don't know if you have. There you have it. Anyways, we saw 2 hearings. One where someone was on a work detail when he essayed a child, and another who actually got out on good time. and I'm willing to bet every dollar that I have, which isn't a lot, but that he, when he got out in good time, was considered a low risk.
Personal responsibility to turn myself in and to handle the situation and take responsibility. I know I made mistakes in my past, but also if you could see on the times I did abscond through my original sentence in Louisiana, it was because I picked up other charges. It was when I was younger and immature.
Now, this is a parole revocation hearing out of the state of Louisiana, and they are hosting it at the university so the students can see what a revocation process looks like. Now, he just made statements about his parole officer, about how much time he was given, about the communication he had with him, but little does he know that the parole officer is in the audience and he's about to make a statement in front of the board. But before we see that, we are going to take a blast to the past, to his 2023 revocation hearing. I suppose back to the time that he was referring to when he was young and immature. So with that, let's jump in.
So you're accused, Mr. Flores, of violating the condition of your parole, specifically condition number 4, and it states, on June 12, 2023, you were booked into the St. Tammany Parish Jail by Covington Police Department for battery of a dating partner. On November 13, 2023, you pled guilty to the charge and were sentenced to 5 months in jail. How do you plead to violating condition number 4?
I pleaded guilty to the charge.
Now, today, how do you plead to violating your parole condition?
Not guilty.
Okay. We'll talk about it in a second.
Okay.
Then condition number 10, as of June 14, 2023, you're $882 in arrearage on your supervision fees.
Yes, ma'am.
Your last payment, March 24th, 2022. How do you plead to violating condition number 10?
Guilty, ma'am.
Okay, your case has been assigned to Mrs. Jackson. Would you answer her questions?
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Ms. Jackson. I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm good. Thank you. I see that you were paroled on January 20th of 2021.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And you have been on parole now for 2 years.
Over 2 years.
Over 2 years.
I'm on like 2 years and going on 3. Going on, and it would be on January 21st would be 3 years.
Yes. And you have been detained on this charge since June 15th of 2023.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Before we get to the violations alleged against you, up until that time, were you in compliance with your conditions?
Yes, ma'am. I held employment. I also we report every month. I never tested positive for any UAs. I wasn't going to bars. I don't drink. I wasn't
Where were you working?
activity.
Where were you working?
I had two jobs. I worked for this solar company called A Solar, and I used that to pay my bills. And then I worked another job part-time at Wendy's, at the fast food restaurant Wendy's, ma'am. And I basically I got my parole transfer to Texas, and then I was in Texas for about a year, and then after that I transferred it back here to St. Tammany. So that's where my girlfriend Maria was from. And right away, within 3 to 6 months, I became a fabric of society. I attended church, worked, held a stable housing, and just try to be a productive citizen. Unfortunately, during the circumstance with me and my girlfriend, we got into an argument, and when the officers came and arrested me, I figured maybe it'd take 3 months for me to resolve the case. And every time I go to court, because of the way the courts are set up here in St. Tammany, they kept pushing me back and pushing me back. And the misdemeanor itself carried 6 months, which I already have served. and they wanted to push me back to February. And in the frustration of the court and everything, you know, I told him just to give me the time served so I could get it over with, because I don't have time to keep my life on standstill. I feel like I've made a complete 180 to the person I was prior to September 16th of 2016.
What were you on, what are you on parole for? What was your
Possession of marijuana, ma'am.
felony possession?
Yes, ma'am. Possession of marijuana. And
Okay.
so compared to who I was prior to me catching the charge I'm on parole, I feel like I made a complete 180 in who I am and moving myself into the fabric side.
Stop talking. When did you fall behind on your fees?
I want to say when I got transferred over here, I want to say maybe like about 6 months after that. What happened was I did send fees. The thing is that they weren't getting logged in for some reason, and I told my parole officer, not Mr. Max that I have now, but I told my parole officer prior to that, Mr. Chad, I think, he had told me that he was like that he was gonna look into it, but then all of a sudden they changed me to Mr. Max, and I never got an answer why they weren't being registered in or I was
How were you sending in your fees?
through money order, ma'am.
Okay.
Mhm.
You weren't doing it online through that?
No, ma'am, no, I'm not really tech savvy.
All right, well, tell us about the incident with you and Maria.
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Tell me about that.
Okay, well, we had I was at my home, and she was staying there as well, but then for about 6 months prior to that, she had moved with a friend of hers, so like that we would kind of have a fresh start. And well, when she arrived at my home, I was in my room asleep, and we had gone into disagreement. And while I was sleeping, she had wanted her mattress that I was laying on, and then we got into an argument over that. But we were arguing for that. We have roommates that we sublet some rooms. One of them decided to call the police, and when the police came, they separated us, and I told them the same situation, that we're arguing over a mattress.
When you say separated y'all from doing what?
Oh, we weren't fighting or nothing. I was in one room and she was in the closet getting her clothes. But that's standard procedure. The police officers, as soon as they come to a home and there's a domestic dispute, they get one person and they take them separate from the other person. So like that, they don't collaborate their stories. And that was back in June, and I figured this would be resolved. And you know, since there were, I didn't hit her, I didn't slap her.
Tell me what happened. What alarmed your roommate?
The screaming and the arguing. That we were discussing, because she wanted the mattress that I was laying on, and I told her, I'm like, can you just please wait until tomorrow and just kindly just give me some time. And she wanted the mattress right then and there. And so then out of frustration, I got up and I picked up the mattress and I threw it down the hallway. And that was that. And I've been incarcerated going on 6 months now for that. And like I said, I figured this issue would be resolved by then, but the courts here, they kept pushing me back and pushing me back, and I just, you know, I just want to move forward with my life. And you know, it was hard enough already for me to serve 15 years for marijuana possession, you know, and I just would like to have a chance, an opportunity to go back out there and take advantage of any kind of anger management courses, which my parole officer had referred me to in the beginning, because he told me they were going to let me out. I was going to get a technical, and all I had to do is take anger management. And then he came back 3 days later and said that it's up for revocation. So I didn't know how it went from one extreme to the next, you know, especially if I've been in compliance. And you could ask him yourself, I have the paper right here where it says that you recommended anger management. And now that was 6 months ago, and my life has been in pause ever since. And I just wanted to address that.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mr. Rushing?
Mr. Flores, good morning.
Good morning.
Mr. Flores, it is your contention that nothing was physical about this offense.
Oh, can you repeat the question, sir?
There was no physical altercation in this offense. You didn't hit,
No, I didn't hit her. I didn't slap her. I didn't strike her.
did you push her?
I grabbed her arm when we were like moving the mattress, but there was no I didn't physically hurt her. I'm not an angry person. I'm not a type of person that.
Why did you grab her arm?
Excuse me, sir?
Why did you grab her arm?
Because I was trying to put the mattress out and we were playing tug of war with the mattress. So that was that situation, sir.
You are trash.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Flores, so how do you explain the bruises on her arms?
From grabbing her arm, ma'am, during the tug of war mattress.
I don't think you were playing tug of war. Anyway, let me ask the officer, Mr. Ch0M0s, is there any information you want to share with us?
No more, me and Dave.
Oh, sorry about that, ma'am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
No, ma'am. I'm here just to strictly report on his supervision. I wanted to say that although we did have that minor setback, unfortunately, I got the wrong information that I was able to give him some anger management classes to possibly let him bond down during this process. A supervisor corrected the information, so we had to move towards this hearing problem. But this has been his only violation besides the fee issue. I've only been his agent for about a month or two while he was out of incarceration before he was transferred to me. We've never really had an issue with him. This is the only violation he's ever had. I don't believe he's ever going to be an issue. I feel this was an isolated incident, but I just wanted to provide that information to y'all. I don't have anything else to say besides that, unless you have any questions for me.
Yeah, I think, thank you for taking the time to speak with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Of course, yes, ma'am.
We'll hear from Miss Maria. Is there anything you'd like to say?
Hello?
Yes, anything you want to say to us?
Yes, it's my fault, and one of my boyfriend, but is he not guilty. Only probably today, but it's not fighting, not doing nothing, and I stay in jail for nothing. I need he go home. It's my fault.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate it. We appreciate it.
Please, it's
Ricardo, is there anything you'd like to say before we vote briefly?
Yes, ma'am. I just want to say that I take responsibility for the situation I put myself in. I can't change the past, but I could redirect the future. And I know that if giving another opportunity, I'll do whatever it takes to make this right, get myself right, in order for my family, for my kids, and go back to the grind and paying the bills.
Good, good. Thank you. Thank you. I think we're prepared to vote. Mrs. Jackson?
All right, Ms. Flores, my vote today is to do not revoke, to return you to supervision and add a condition of supervision that you complete anger management.
Thank you.
Mr. Rusher?
My vote is do not revoke, return to supervision, and add a condition to complete anger management.
Thank you.
My vote also is the same, Mr. Flores.
Thank you very much.
Do not revoke, return you to supervision, and enroll and complete the anchor management.
Thank you very much. Ma'am.
All right, thank you for, Mr. Ch0M0s for being with us this morning. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Mr. Max.
No problem.
Te amo, amor. Te cuidas. Thank you.
Water.
And they chose not to revoke. And I think that he owes it all to his parole officer. And it's quite interesting because we see many revocation hearings in Louisiana, but we don't often see the parole officer show up at the hearing. So do you think that he's going to have followed his conditions, taken his programs? And like I said before, he doesn't know that the parole officer shows up yet again. I mean, out of all the officers that he has to pick, he picks one that is thorough. But will he be kind to him as he was this last time? Well, the last hearing that we saw took place on December of 2023. It's now March 2025. We're going to go to a university in Louisiana and see if this man is going to get revoked. So with that, let's jump in.
All right, the Committee on Parole is reconvened. We're now at St. Tammany Parish Jail. Today is Wednesday, March 12th, 2025. It's 11:05 p.m. Would the staff there in St. Tammany please introduce yourself to the record?
Corporal Jonathan Lott.
Thank you, Corporal, for accommodating us this morning. And Mr. Flores,
Yes, ma'am.
would you introduce yourself, sir? Tell us your name and your deals.
Oh, yes, ma'am. I'm sorry. It's because the volume is real low. My name is Ricardo Flores, inmate 459994, ma'am.
Flores, we're here for a revocation decision this morning. Can you hear us?
I'm sorry. What was that, miss? Can you repeat that?
We're here for a revocation decision.
Oh, yes, ma'am.
Do you have any paperwork that goes with you?
Yes, ma'am. I have here my completion of the programs that I took throughout my original sentence. I have
Yeah. Do you have a
Stephen.
parole revocation questionnaire with you?
The revocation questionnaire. Yes, ma'am. It's in front of me. Yes, ma'am.
That's your signature at the bottom of that page.
Yes, ma'am.
Based on the information in that form, you're not eligible for appointed counsel this morning. So are you ready to proceed?
Yes, I'm ready to proceed. Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Flores, your case has been assigned this morning to Mr. Hager. He'll take over from here.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Hey, Mr. Flores, can you hear me all right? I'll speak up.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I could listen to you fine. Thank you. Good morning.
Okay, you're on parole and you've been on parole or probation other times, have you not?
Yes, sir. Yes. My original, I had an old case from 2002, that I had in Baton Rouge, and then this one that I caught in 2016.
Hey, what about one in Wisconsin?
Yes, sir. In Wisconsin, I was convicted there in 2010.
Okay, you got that.
Marijuana.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I can safely say that you have not followed the law or the rules of society on several occasions. Is that correct?
Unfortunately, I have made a couple mistakes throughout my life. Yes, I have to agree with you on that, sir.
Okay. And when you get out of jail, when you're allowed out on parole, then you sign that sheet that's in front of you and you say, I promise I hadn't been a good boy, but I'm going to be from now on. And I'm going to follow these rules, correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. 3 of these rules we're here to talk about today that you didn't follow. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The first one is you absconded from supervision. You're told that you got to tell us where you work, where you're going to live, where you're going to do all, and that's part of the deal. That's part of the deal you getting out of jail. Did you do that?
Yes, sir. I was when I spoke with my parole agent, Agent Max, he gave me a written pass to go to Texas because my mother had a liver biopsy. She had cancer. Now the whole time before that, before I got that pass, I had residence. I was working. Well, unfortunately, because of that situation had arose with my mother, I had to go to Texas. When I went to Texas, I stayed there an additional 2 months longer than what my past had said. But throughout those 2 months, I had communication with him. He had given me permission. He gave me a deadline to come. I back to the state. I made it back to the state within that deadline. And then due to schedule conflict, I missed 2 appointments after that fact because he had given me an opportunity to basically recant the warrant and then just go back to supervision. And we had, I believe there was a week that everything was shut down here because of the snow. And then I turned myself in that following week. I had never had plans on running, on absconding. So I took it personal responsibility to turn myself in and to handle the situation and take responsibility. I know I made mistakes in my past, but also if you could see on the times I did abscond through my original sentence in Louisiana, I've always, it was because I picked up other charges. It was when I was younger and immature. And I figured this time, because of the mistakes I made in the past, I learned from them. I figured if I turn myself in and do the right thing and own up to my mistake, well, for one, it'll give me a sense of clarity, knowing that I had control of that. And two, like my parole officer said, take responsibility. So that's why I'm here now. And I'm not here to make excuses, but I'm just here just to state what happened and the facts, and just asking the parole board for another opportunity to just go out there and keep doing what I was doing. I haven't picked up any charges. I don't have any dirty UAs. I've taken classes of substance abuse that I've took initiative on myself to do, not that I was ordered by probation or parole. And I'm just doing the best I can. That's why I figured maybe if I could get an opportunity to just do things right and learn from this mistake, sir.
Are you still wanted in Wisconsin?
I have a misdemeanor warrant but this was before I caught this initial warrant. It's a warrant that I have. Let's see, from 2010. But I picked up this Louisiana charge 2016. The thing is, it's a non-extraditable warrant, and since my incarceration, I did 5.5 years on this charge, on the charge I'm originally on parole. When I got out, I haven't had the opportunity to go back to Wisconsin. So I had spoken to my parole agent into going back and taking care of that misdemeanor warrant up there. And he said that he wouldn't revoke me if I could go and do that. So I would like to eventually go back up there. My kids are up there and take it from day one.
Floyd, you kind of fellow that costs these probation and parole agents an awful lot of time trying to chase down. And you told the story kind of like that Texas deal, but there was more to it than that. As far as what you were charged with being absconding. You kind of slippery. You're hard to find sometimes. Hard to turn yourself in. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, yes, sir. Unfortunately, because I was in New Orleans at the time when I was supposed to turn myself in, I didn't have a vehicle, and financially, I was struggling economically. But throughout the whole time, I'm calling my parole agent and letting him know the situation that I that the fact that I was in the state. I was just financially, I didn't have the means to come over here, sir.
All right, let's move on. Are you supposed to be paying a certain amount of money?
Yes, sir.
Per month?
For the parole fees, it's $85. Now, when I was in Texas, the parole fee over there was I think $15, and I made every fee the whole time over there. But since I came back to Louisiana, I got my parole transferred from Texas back to over here. I've had trouble financially to pay it. When I spoke to my PO about it, he said, just do the best you can. But yes, sir, I have had trouble. I have been behind on those payments, sir.
Okay, let's talk about rule, that was rule 10, and you said you. So rule 3, you said, rule 10, you said you're guilty of, and rule 13 about the anger management. Do you have your certificate for having, you were ordered to go to anger management?
And add a condition of supervision that you complete anger management.
Thank you.
Mr. Rocha?
You remember
I took anger management classes through my church here in Covington, and then Men of Promise, which is a church out in Texas. I talked to my PO about that. He said that wouldn't be a problem. But the one that was ordered here in Covington, that one I never attended to. I went through faith-based programs, sir.
Okay, so you were ordered to get arrested and report and come back from Texas, and
Yes, sir.
you didn't do that. You got a warrant out of Wisconsin. You were ordered to pay a certain amount of money, and you didn't do that. You were ordered to do the anger management. You didn't do that. So, this is on you. This isn't on us. This is on you.
Yes, sir.
I don't have to get it. Y'all got anything? Is this parole officer here?
Yes, sir. Hey, do you have any comment? How do you come down to the phone, please?
Yeah.
What are you doing this morning?
I didn't realize you were gonna be here.
I didn't think I was gonna be here either. Yeah, I didn't that, so.
Thank you.
Please, state your name and then tell. Yes, sir. I'm Max Lane, here to work out the Covington District Probation Parole Officer. So what you said about the anger management, I may have misheard you, Ricardo, but we told you the anger management, it was about the church for anger management services, I believe. Since it's a little out of the norm, because we usually require a more stable program, I told him he gave me the information, I'd look over and approve it if I could. I was never given the information. He said he had approved the anger management once he was incarcerated, and he didn't see all the day, but I don't have it in front of me, obviously. He is right. I told him that I would rescind the warrant if he made it back by the deadline for that warrant. Unfortunately, did not make it. He made it on 190, which is a highway, not close, but it's about an hour walking distance from our office. I told him, listen, we're going to be out for Christmas. We're going to be out for about 2 weeks. I want to give you until that time to make it in. By that time, I told him, I'm probably going to turn you in. I'm not. I can't wait for you anymore. You're already out 2 months longer than you had to be. I couldn't give him any more. Another factor that was a problem that I may have not noted, and it's in my narratives, I can send you back to send him already. He was being supervised by a different agent for about a month or two that actually found this out for me. He said that this agent, Agent Maggio, told him that he has a little bit of time to come in. A certain deadline, I couldn't remember the exact time. I talked to this agent. She said no such thing. She said that he was responsible for reporting media. I gave him that week because I know people get the taxes if you don't have the cash for a ride. It's kind of difficult. But being 2 months out there is unacceptable. I will say, besides that, his supervision and communication is pretty clear. No problems reaching out to him whatsoever. It's just this, and he had a misdemeanor DAB previously that was dealt with by the court. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have a recommendation for us? You the one who got to do the work.
Although he's been easy to communicate with, I'm at this point where I would still recommend revocation. I was going to say real quick, sorry. Doing this job, I'm still underrated. But there needs to be some honesty actions. I believe he said there were 2 attempts. There were 4. I only marked 2 as a violation before I waited for him to come in. At one point, he said he made it from Covington to Kenner, but couldn't make it from Covington to Covington, where our office is located. That's all I have. That's my opinion on that. Professional.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
Sounds like you handled it very professionally, and I appreciate that.
Sorry, I got it.
Yeah, good.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad you're able to testify in front of all these students and professors and all about the fact that you're not the boogeyman.
Yes, sir.
You want them to succeed.
Yeah.
I'm glad that was brought out at this particular hearing. Okay, thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
All right, Mr. Flores, we are prepared to vote, and make a decision. Mr. Prater will be voting for it.
I voted for revocation. I'm sorry to say it. I hope you do better. Remember the rules when you get out. You got rules. I follow rules. You got to follow.
Mr. Prater.
I do got it.
Mr. Flores, my vote today also is to revoke. You know, Mr. Flores, we're going to send you some information. You will have the opportunity to reapply for re-parole. We will send you the information on when you can do that. Good luck to you.
I'm sorry, information on what?
When you can reapply for parole.
I don't know what that means.
You can apply for a parole hearing again.
Oh, yeah, but I still fall under the old act though, right?
That's okay. We're gonna send you some.
I don't know if you noticed the shocked look on his face, and that's because Louisiana has updated their laws. It's now that you have to serve more time. You have to wait like 80% of your time before you can reapply for parole. And it used to be more lenient. And that's why he's like, wait a minute, what do you mean apply for parole? And Mr. Renato is like, well, we'll tell you. And I don't know. And he thought maybe he's grandfathered in, but it's not clear. It's not clear to me at all whether he is or not and who is parole eligible or not. But I think that it's pretty strict because I don't know if you realize, but there are far fewer parole hearings in 2025 since they passed this law than what we've had in 2024. So it could be he's back in a lot of time, and that just hit him in the face. And what a shock when his probation officer shows up to his parole hearing. I mean, we so hardly ever see that. And he shows up to his first one, and then he shows up to the one at the university. He happens to be in the crowd, and the look on his face when he sees him there, he must have been like, "Are you kidding me?" But in all fairness, it seems that, you know, like the Sheriff Prater said, you know, it's good for everyone to see you're not the boogeyman. I mean, he was letting him go. He was letting him do his thing. And this man just couldn't help himself. It's like he gave an inch, he wanted a mile. And all I had to do was communication. I had to do was showing up. And it's like this guy he didn't even take his programs. He could have gotten revoked for that. So there you have it. We're seeing the journeys, and we put these parole hearings in the return of playlist. And want to thank Lady Holly for using Sir Richard's spreadsheet to connect the dots. That's how we do it here on Mandu. And if we see him again, we'll make it to that playlist. With that, I'll let you go.
This has been his only violation besides the fee issue. I've only been his agent for about a month or two while he was out of incarceration before he was transferred to me. We've never really had an issue with him. This is the only violation he's ever had.
So do you have a recommendation for us? You the one who got to do the work.
Although he's been easy to communicate with, I'm at this point where I would still recommend revocation.
Today, we're working on a case on Gus Green, who's a 7th felony habitual offender. He's been convicted of forgery, 3 counts in Tensas Parish, aggravated battery, unauthorized entry of inhabited dwelling, 2nd-degree battery in Lafayette Parish, and carnal knowledge of a juvenile in Evalds Parish. Also, while on a work detail, when he was incarcerated, he raped a juvenile at the fire station in the bathroom.